What's up, Internet? My name's Nerdy.
And I'm Claroos.
And this is a non-spoiler review of Transformers: Rise of the Beasts.
Yeah, but spoiler alert for like the very, very end.
Yeah, we'll tell you. There will be a thing down here that says this is spoilers.
I just don't want anyone to let the video play and then walk away and be like, no, spoilers. So
there will be spoilers at the very end.
yeah.
Honestly, I don't know how you would spoil this movie. This is Transformers: Rise of the Beast. Wait, before we get into any of that, this is Claroos' first Transformers thing ever.
Yeah.
Watch this video that I took before we walked into the theater. Claroos has never seen any Transformers thing ever. So we're going to throw this into the YouTube video when I say so. But Claroos, before we go into Transformers in IMAX, oh my god, big IMAX.
Oh god, okay.
Who are the good guys in Transformers? What are their names?
The good guy is Bumblebee.
Okay, what group is he a part of?
He's part of the Transformers.
Okay, and what are the bad guys called?
Prime.
Oh, Optimus Prime's the bad guy.
I don't know. They're like more gray colors. I'll know the good guys because they're like colorful.
Okay, well you've heard it here first, folks. Claroos will know who the good guys are because they are colorful.
Correct.
Back to the review. Welcome back. Isn't that crazy? She didn't know what an Autobot was. Do you know what an Autobot is now?
A Transformer.
Mm-hmm. But specifically...
The ones that are cars and trains and planes and automobiles.
And also good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like the other guys were good too.
The Maximals?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm saying the cars, and that's why I said and also. So the good guys that can turn into cars, all right? They're the Autobots. The good guys that can turn into animals, they're the Maximals.
Uh-huh.
The bad guys that can turn into cars in this movie are the Terracons.
Are they from the same planet?
Yes. This movie does not get into any of that, which I think is interesting because later in the movie there's a line about it and you're like, you did not set up this world very well for you to talk about this. This movie is, I feel like it sounds like we're being negative, so I just want to get into this. This is directed by Stephen Capel Jr. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen a movie that he's directed before.
Never heard the name.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen. Oh no, he directed Creed 2. Oh, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. He's a good director. I think this movie's well directed. I think this movie is fun.
Sure.
I would give it a soft thumbs up.
I would give it like a 5 out of 10.
That's not like the worst score you've given a movie.
Definitely not the worst. It's not the worst movie I've seen. It's not very good, but it's not the worst thing that I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's an interesting film.
I'd give it fine.
Partially because it's just a rewritten script from Transformers: Dark of the Moon, which I think is really weird. Like structurally, there are so many beats that this hits and visually that ape moments, because there's ape Optimus Primal, that steal from Transformers Dark of the Moon and then just like skinned it over, but in the 90s, which is before Transformers Dark of the Moon happens. Although whether or not this is in the same universe as those Transformers, who knows?
Questionable.
Weird. It was just weird. Watching this movie, I was like, I've seen this before, except it was longer, and I will say it was worse. I think that this is a better version of this movie. Like, if you're going to do a take two at a script, I think this is a better version of Transformers Dark of the Moon, which was where I felt the Transformers live-action franchise really started to fall apart for me.
Okay.
It got much worse than that.
Great.
Especially Age of Extinction. But the elements of this movie, if you've seen Transformers Dark of the Moon, you're going to watch into this movie and be like, we did this, but in Chicago. And it's weird that it's happening again.
Yeah, if I had a nickel... Mm-hmm. It's weird that it happened twice, Yeah. Sure.
Rounding out our human cast, we have Anthony Ramos and Dominique Fishback. It's really just the two of them. Almost everything else in this movie is a robot, except for a couple scenes in New York with Anthony Ramos' character's family, Noah.
Yeah. They
are the heart of the movie?
Well, no, one of the three of them is.
Oh, no, his family.
Oh, yeah, sure.
The family is sweet.
Yeah, I mean, the mom was there for 30 seconds total.
Yeah, but she's trying. She's doing her best.
Yeah, she's like busy. I just didn't like.
You didn't care about... Do you want to... I can review the movie by myself.
I just, didn't really care about it. The kid was the best part.
The kid is the best part of the movie.
The kid
He's
is
fantastic.
the best part. That, and honestly,
What is his name?
like, Liam Neeson sounded good.
Mm-hmm. Wait.
What?
Oh, yeah, Dean Scott Vasquez plays Chris Diaz, Noah's younger brother. I thought that he wasn't credited, but he's credited later.
Yeah.
No, he's great. He is fantastic.
Yeah.
He brings a lot of heart to the movie. And I think that Anthony Ramos carries the part that he's given very well. I don't necessarily know that he's used in the way that I would have liked. This movie is going to draw a lot of comparisons to Bumblebee, which takes place in the 80s. It's the last one to come out, and it is clearly a direct sequel to that. There are lines in this movie that make it very clear that this and Bumblebee take place in the same universe, even if this and the other Transformers movies don't take place in that same universe.
Yeah, there's also, like, moments where it feels like it relies a little bit that you've, like, seen Bumblebee.
Yeah. I will say that I think that what was missing from this movie that made Bumblebee work for me, because I do think Bumblebee is the best of the live-action Transformers movies, and is actually, like, genuinely a great movie that I recommend watching.
Yeah, it's one that I've heard is good.
I do actually very, very, very much like it. But that movie was really about the relationship between, was it Haley Steinfeld's character and Bumblebee?
Okay.
Whereas I wish this movie had been more about Noah and Mirage's relationship, as Mirage is Noah's car. But the globe-trotting element of this movie has to get introduced very quickly.
Yeah.
In a way that didn't give them as much time together early on to set up what their relationship was.
Yeah.
And so I felt like some of the beats where they were trying to be like in the final fight together felt a little bit hollow because the setup for the relationship wasn't ever really there.
Yes.
Also kind of not given everything that I think that she deserves. I'm going to be very clear. I went to college with Dominique Fishback. So, like, I have met her. She's a fantastic human being. She deserves all of the flowers that she's getting. In this movie, she's not really a human.
No, she does things that are essential to the plot, but doesn't feel like a person at all, and not because of her acting. That, like, the movie, like, gives her nothing.
Yeah,
the movie gives her absolutely nothing.
She has one monologue about her dad, but outside of that, she doesn't she doesn't have any connection to anything.
No.
And so she's a very weird character in that she's set up as being a character who has never left New York. Yeah. And she lives where she grew up.
Yeah.
But because the movie never really pays any attention to her,
it doesn't feel like that is the case.
Yeah, when they do kind of finally leave for the, like, we got to do the mission thing, the MacGuffin of the movie, she's like, yeah, okay. Is there anybody that you need to tell? Do you have any, like, do you have friends? And the movie, like, she introduces her as being late, but then, like, that doesn't go anywhere. Her job doesn't call her. Well, and her being, like, I thought that they were going to show up that she's a little bit, like, frazzled, or, like, she is really smart, but maybe doesn't pay attention very well.
Right.
And just based on the opening scene, none of it really plays out. She just is kind of as intelligent as the movie needs to get everybody else where they need to.
Yeah.
And I think that was a shame, because I think she did a great job.
Yeah,
I just think the script, she is just the smart woman who is present in a lot of the scenes.
Yep.
But similarly, Noah is the former military guy who's present. They set up early in the movie that he's really good at building things, that he's good at fixing electronics.
And it does not really
And he never
matter.
has to fix electronics in the movie.
Yeah.
And so it's really... there's some weird, strange things like that where, like, the movie sets up things for these characters, personalities and traits for them to have, and then it becomes so much a Transformers movie that I feel like if you got rid of the humans, this whole movie would be better. And that's not a knock at their acting or the performances. They're not... Their arcs aren't important to this film.
Yeah, they're just kind of, like, useful because they're small.
Yeah.
That's it. Like,
they
honestly.
can go places the Transformers can't.
Yeah.
I wish their arcs paid off more.
Yeah.
There is kind of an arc that pays off, but it isn't personal. It's like, I don't know. I don't want to spoil it. We'll get into it in spoilers.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
But the story does ultimately come down to the Transformers and the Maximals and the Terracons. And I think the Predacons aren't technically in this, but they're not called the Predacons and they don't have any personalities. So they're kind of used as, like, fodder. But how do you feel about the Transformers, the robots in disguise?
I have a question.
I might have answers.
Do the Transformers have sex and procreate?
But yes, probably. Maybe.
So
Questionable.
why is there a female Transformer?
Well, yeah. Why are there male Transformers? It's a great question.
I mean, here's the thing.
Why are there trans Transformers? That's also a great question.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. If all the Transformers had kind of a template, which was like a boxy person because they fit all their parts in different places, it'd be fine. And then to like give one Transformer curves, I was like, you guys fucking or like what?
No.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand why.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Also,
Transformers.
Like,
don't think about it.
Are all Transformers sentient?
Yes.
So they just like murdered like swaths of people.
No Transformers die in this.
Yeah, there's like all the little Transformers.
Those are just robots. They're
so
okay.
The robots have robots.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that are not sentient.
Yeah.
Are
I mean, they're sentient, but they're not intelligent.
like animal?
Yeah, they're like the animals of
Okay, so they like force the animals to do their evil warmongering.
Yes.
Okay.
Just like humans. They're not that different from us.
I mean,
that's kind of what the movie's about.
At least we don't make like horses like murder people, you know. We
That
just
is
make
not
them
true.
carry us.
That's not true at all.
What?
We ride horses into battle all the time.
Yeah, the horses are not wielding weapons. They just are mounts.
That is a distinction that you can draw.
Just think it'd be like weird to. I don't think you could train a horse to like stab a
Anyway,
person.
in the movie Transformers: Rise of the Beasts.
I don't understand Transformers. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I'm happy to talk about that. I don't know that we should talk about whether or not using horses for war counts as them killing people when horses have absolutely trampled people in war. I don't think that is relevant to this movie.
You know, that's fair. It just doesn't seem like the horses have intentions of killing people. But like these like weird little mini robots are very intent on killing people.
So in the movie Transformers: Rise of the Beasts, the new Transformers are the best ones. Honestly, there is an interesting arc with Optimus and what he's going through emotionally. I'm glad that they showed that and that this Optimus is in a different place than we've seen in previous Transformers movies. I think that was really smart.
Has it always been Liam Neeson? Like, did
What?
he do the Michael Bay ones as well?
What? No, Liam Neeson is not in this movie.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Who did he play?
He's Optimus Prime. It literally is Liam Neeson's voice.
It's literally Peter Cullen. It has
No.
It is okay. First of all, right there, it says Peter Cullen as Optimus Prime. Peter Cullen has been doing this voice for Optimus Prime for like my life. It's the same voice from the Michael Bay movies, but it's definitely Peter Cullen.
Is he doing a Liam Neeson impression?
Maybe. But
I
Liam Neeson is not in this movie.
Could have sworn he was about to tell Obi-Wan that Anakin was the chosen one at any moment. Like, sounds like Liam Neeson.
Peter Cullen did a great job.
Yeah, he did. Good job.
You were so confident about that too.
Yes, the moment I heard his voice, I was like, Liam Neeson. Okay.
But the surprise hit of this movie, this is the wildest review we've ever done. The surprise hit of this movie, Pete Davidson.
Yeah.
As Mirage, I talked about how I wish that they had more time to build up the relationship between him and Mirage and Noah, but Pete Davidson is legitimately a highlight of this film. He brings a energy that I wish they had done more with Bumblebee, but because Mirage can talk.
Oh yeah, but Bumblebee can't talk, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was like, Bumblebee is saying words, but they're only quotes from movies. And I was like, is that a choice for comedy or is he mute?
No, so his voice box gets damaged, and so he uses the radio to speak. And so he plays clips of things, and that's how he communicates.
So he like records them and keeps them on like a floppy disk. I guess it's the 90s.
Sure, whatever the Transformers version of a floppy disk is, he has like lines and he like uses them.
He can't fix. Okay, sure. Okay,
look.
Sure.
It's fun. And it's for kids, and it allows them to have him play songs that are inappropriate. They didn't do that as much as they did in the Michael Bay movies, but they also didn't bring up Romeo and Juliet laws in this movie, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah,
we need to
told me about
watch.
that.
We need to watch those movies on camera. There's some things that you need to react to.
I don't know.
That scene is wild. But no, Pete Davidson is fantastic.
Correct.
He brings the energy of the Transformer who's happy to be a Transformer that I always thought if Bumblebee could talk, he would bring. And I just really liked him the whole time. Partially because he landed the comedy. I don't think the comedy in this movie works very well.
No, there's like 2 good jokes. The rest of them are like kind of bad.
Pete Davidson is legitimately funny though.
Yeah.
And he brings that. I think there's a lot of comedy in this movie that is jokes that don't land. There's one that stopped the movie flat.
Yeah.
It is
really bad.
And then the movie makes a joke. Like there's an added joke at the end where a character goes, "I don't understand why that was the joke." And I was sitting there being like, you did not make this better by commenting on it.
No.
But that character's alone in a frame. So I felt like the joke tested poorly, but they couldn't cut it because there was no way to cut out the CGI.
Yeah.
And so they shot a oneer of just that character having that afterline to let the audience know that the filmmakers were like, yeah, no, that scene was just bad, but we can't, there's no way to reshoot it.
Yeah, that felt really fucking weird.
It is one of them. Yeah, it is really bad.
Yeah. You'll know. If you go see it, you'll know.
If you are hoping that this movie looks better than the Michael Bay movies and you can tell the robots apart, sometimes. Yeah, sometimes the CGI is not great. There's an element of the final act where the CGI is really bad. Not good. Unfortunately.
Not good.
And it's a really important thing, but it's a little MODOK-y.
Yeah, that's literally what it reminded me of. Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
It's a little bit less MODOK-y. It looks a little bit more like there's shots of Mark Ruffalo in Infinity War when he's in the Hulkbuster armor and he's just floating there. It kind of looked like that. But for the most part, the Transformers look really good. The Predacon or the Maximals all look really good. Michelle Yeoh was surprisingly great as.
I mean, she's always great.
Yeah. As Air Razor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked RC. I was surprised to hear that it was Liza Koshy. I was hoping for a little bit more from the Bumblebee. I hope that they, I thought maybe John Cena would make an appearance. I guess it's kind of a spoiler to say that, but yeah, there are like line callbacks to Bumblebee, but there's no actual like references to it, which I think they could have done. I think it would have been nice, but it's been 10 years for these characters, so I guess,
right.
It is what it is.
Yeah, that'd have been kind of weird.
I don't know what else to say about it. It is good. It's not great.
Yeah.
It'll be fun for kids.
It's watchable.
It's mostly safe for kids. There's definitely death in it.
Yep.
I wouldn't take kids who are too young. It's very loud, but I think that it's safe enough for most children, and it's fun. It's just not great.
There is also a kind of inappropriate joke for children.
If you're talking about is it that Mirage joke?
Yeah.
Kids aren't gonna get that. That was for the adults.
Okay.
That was no dirtier than anything in Shrek. You know what I mean? That was a joke for adults that will go over kids' heads.
Okay, fair. I just was kind of like, I'm sorry, what?
It's also one of the funniest jokes in the movie. In my opinion. Pete Davidson, good job.
Yeah.
You know what? He was also one of my favorite things about Fast X. I like Pete Davidson in things.
Yeah.
He's really
he's cool.
Yeah.
He just seems like he's enjoying being there,
Yeah, and I think that that's important in these action movies. I think that that's sometimes what the Michael Bay movies were missing, was that they were so dripping in masculinity. And Pete Davidson brings a masculine form of comedy that I don't think is predicated on his masculinity. It's not very chest beating.
Yeah, he doesn't write into his contract that he can't lose fights.
Yeah, and so I think that that's what works about him, is that he there's a humility to, and it's probably because he does so much therapy, and is very open about that. But I think there's a humility to what he brings to these films, where he's in these scenes with these characters that are very serious and grim, and the fate of the Autobots, and he's just kind of there to have a good time.
Yeah.
And do his job, and it stands out, and it's endearing to me. I sometimes find when you have all of these robots on screen and it's very serious voices grinding gears at each other, that I'm like, this isn't in the 80s, this was a little bit sillier and it was more fun. And this brought that fun back to the franchise. I wish the script was a little bit stronger. I wish Dominique Fishback's character, Elena, had a little bit more to do. But for the most part, like, I enjoyed being in the theater for the 2 hours, 15 minutes. And I didn't ever hate it the way that I hated watching Age of Extinction or The Last Night when they revealed that, like, the Transformers helped Harriet Tubman with the Underground Railroad. I don't really understand what happened in that movie. I don't think Anthony Hopkins understands what happened in that movie either. But he's in it. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's our review.
Yeah,
It is a movie. It's a movie that is decent.
Sure.
And is occasionally not great. And is occasionally just Dark of the Moon. But it's fun.
Yeah.
I would only recommend seeing it in theaters if you liked Bumblebee. I think that it is enough like Bumblebee that if you liked Bumblebee, go see this. If you didn't like Bumblebee, you're not missing enough for me to be like, run to the theaters and see this.
No. Yeah, you're fine.
Let's talk spoilers. Like the video, subscribe, hit the dislike button, leave me comments down below because the algorithm god is hungry. We must feed her. We are going to move into the spoiler section, but before we do that, reminder to follow us. I'm at Nerdy Nightly.
I'm at Claroos Polaris.
Claroos. Spoilers. There's text.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Yo, Joe. G.I. Joe. That was a reveal. This doesn't take place in the Michael Bay universe because of that.
Which you said, and I'm going to have to
confident.
take your word for it.
I think that it's smart of them to cut out, if this is going to move forward, and if it's going to move forward with Anthony Ramos in the lead, which I think is smart. I think he's good in the part.
Yeah, he was good.
I hated the car suit thing. I really didn't like it. But while it was happening,
that looked bad.
it just didn't look good, and it doesn't make any sense.
No.
And like within the function of the movie, it doesn't make any sense that Mirage just dies but isn't dead, but then becomes a suit that he wears. But then like, where does the rest of him go?
Exactly. Where are the rest of his parts? Like, did they have to like forage those out of the like crumbling mass that was this tower?
Yeah, and also
especially when Bumblebee died. Like, why did Bumblebee die and he didn't die after getting blasted like 17 times in the ass? Like.
Yeah, and Dominic Fishback's character, like, leaps for her bag in that one scene where you're like, why do you need the code? It's 3 symbols. Like, if the code wasn't long enough to justify her being like, oh, no, if I don't have my journal, and, like, jumping towards lava on a ledge that she doesn't even know if she can climb back up from.
Yeah,
and I was like, you don't remember I remembered them.
Yeah.
They showed it to us, like, twice, and I was like, oh, yeah, I could type that into the computer.
100%.
So that some of this stuff in the end didn't really work. Also, the whole ending... Wait, no, we have to talk about G.I. Joe first. G.I. Joe, Transformers combined. The G.I. Joe franchise has repeatedly failed. If you go watch our review of Snake Eyes, you know that movie wasn't good. And so...
Yeah, terrible. What was the one that we didn't watch?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
There's one that we didn't watch where they were like monsters coming through the like portal that came out a while ago and apparently was terrible.
Don't know I have no idea what you're talking about.
I thought it was that, but maybe it wasn't.
No, we saw Snake Eyes in theaters.
Yeah, no, Snake Eyes, I remember. That was bad. That was one of the worst things I've seen in theaters for a while.
Which is a shame, because I like Henry Golding. Honestly, if they're going to do this, bring back Henry Golding. Like, that movie's not good, but
he was great.
He was great. I was watching the Anthony Ramos car suit thing, and I was like, the way he's moving weirdly looks like the Channing Tatum suit that Channing Tatum runs through the bus in London in G.I. Joe 1.
Oh, okay.
You haven't seen it.
No.
But it's not a very good movie. But I was like, this weirdly looks like that. And then when they flipped over the card, he's like, G.I. Joe. At the end, I screamed. I was the only person in the theater who cared. I was like, yo, that's exciting. It's sort of like how in Age of Extinction, when I saw it in theaters, the Dinobots finally were revealed. And they come out. They're in the trailer. So I knew we were getting Dinobots finally. I've wanted Dinobots since I was a kid. They're my favorite Transformers.
Mm-hmm.
That movie's like 2 hours and 55 minutes long. And the Dinobots, I think, appear at the, like, 2 hour and 40 minute mark.
Oh,
and so I've been sitting there for 2 hours and 40 minutes waiting for fucking Dinobots, and they didn't appear, and then they did appear, and I stood up in a packed theater, and I cheered and applauded, and nobody else made a noise, because everyone was so, like, everyone just hated the war of attrition that was watching that movie had broken everybody, whereas I was so excited for Dinobots that I was okay with it.
Of course.
But yeah, G.I. Joe, I don't think this movie's going to do well enough that they're going to go through with it.
Yeah.
I think that is going to be yet another post-credit scene that goes nowhere.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I can't imagine this is going to generate the kind of positive feedback. It just isn't good enough to overcome the franchise before it. I think this franchise is so tainted from the Michael Bay movies because Bumblebee should have done better. It was good, and I don't think Bumblebee was good enough to overcome the narrative that these movies are too long, they're just not enjoyable for audiences. You know what I mean? Because those Michael Bay movies, as much as they were still making money in the end, they were in decline.
Yeah.
And the franchise was damaged by the time Last Night came out.
Right.
And I don't know that this movie I don't know that this movie is good enough.
No.
It is good. I think this is a good movie. It's well made. It's well directed, in my opinion.
Sure, yeah.
I don't think the comedy is maybe the best directed, but I think the action is well directed until the final fight, which we'll talk about in 1 second.
Yeah.
But I just don't know that it is good enough to overcome that.
No.
And so I hope we get the G.I. Joe crossover because I want it, but I don't know that we will.
I would be surprised.
Can we talk about the thing about the final fight that bugs me so much about this movie?
Which is the thing?
It's the fact that there's like 7 good guys.
Yeah.
And there's like a million bad guys. Mm-hmm. And the bad guys are always like the Predacons, the whatever, Scorponok, which is, he doesn't have any personality in this, but there's like a bunch of Scorponoks that are all Scorponok. I don't really understand what was going on. But the Predacons are the bad guys from Beast Wars. So because they had the Maximals in here, I think they were trying to homage, we didn't even talk about Scourge, who's just kind of a nothing villain.
Yeah, they're like, this Scourge guy is basically invincible. And then they just beat him at the end with some lava. And I was like, oh, okay, never mind.
The bad guys are running around as if they're fighting an army in the backgrounds of all of these shots. Mm-hmm. But there's only 7 of them.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are these? There are hundreds of them on screen just doing random shit in the back of every shot.
Yep.
And the final fight goes on for so long that there's a point where I would just like, I stopped watching them, just the main characters in the center of the frame just blowing everybody away, taking no damage. Like it's this giant war and there's no damage on the good guy side except fighting Scourge. But the bad guys, I'm just looking at all of these CGI masses just moving around in the back of the shots doing functionally nothing.
Yeah.
And I could not for the life of me understand what was going on. It was really unfortunate because I actually really like all of the action scenes leading up to it.
Yeah.
I think the fight on Ellis Island is really good. Mm-hmm. I think that it shows off their different abilities well. And, you know, the way the humans get away from the littler Transformers sometimes is very convenient. But
yeah.
But like I thought the Ellis Island fight was great. And then I really liked the road fight until they blew up like 5 feet of road and that stopped Scourge for some reason.
I did not understand that. I was like, can't these things jump?
Well, and the one can fly. And they're like, oh no, you destroyed part of a part of a road. I guess we're not following you.
Yeah.
I wish Scourge had been like, they need to reveal the other piece or something. Right.
Sure, yeah, it made absolutely no sense.
But they're like, they're getting away. And I was like, oh no, 5 feet of road is missing. I guess that's...
Darn.
The one that can fly literally like puts her wings away and is like, they're escaping.
I know. And then, like, earlier in the movie, Mirage is like, oh, what? They can fly? You know, I want to do that. And then when he becomes the Noah suit, he can fly.
Oh, he develops jetpacks. He can't really fly. He can, like, speed up.
Sure.
I don't know.
Sure.
There's stuff. Look, there's that stuff I'm willing to forgive because it's a Transformers movie. Whatever. They're giant robot cars that fight, right?
Sure.
The stuff that I find frustrating is like the scorpions in the background of the shot that are just running around so that the frame is moving, so it looks like there's a war.
So it looks busy.
Like that frustrates me because I'm like, well then just have fewer of them, but have them be stronger.
Yeah.
If you're not going to spend the time figuring out what's going on and you're just having me look at mush. Just don't. Like, just have the 3 bad guys be very strong and let them fight. I didn't like watching it's the same thing I have with Zack Snyder's Justice League, where there's like thousands of, what are they called? Oh my God, whatever. Doomsday stuff. Not Doomsday. Darkseid. My brain.
That thing.
But like once they get inside and they're fighting Steppenwolf, it just becomes a better fight because it's not just blowing up CGI masses everywhere.
Yep.
Steppenwolf, while being CGI, is still a threat to them.
Yeah.
And so the Scourge fight on the bridge is the only one you really give a shit about because every other fight is just
they're fine. Whatever. Don't worry about it.
It's nonsense.
Yeah.
And so I found that a little bit disappointing. The ending of the movie is very like, we got to do the thing with the MacGuffin while the big fight is happening and the CGI. But leading up to that, I thought there was a lot of fun in the movie, and I didn't hate it. It's just I don't think it's just not enough.
No.
Narratively.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Optimus's arc though. I should have said that in the non-spoiler part.
Yeah, I mean, I unfortunately it didn't really work for me. I think that like Optimus Prime being in the place that he's in emotionally works if you've maybe seen the other stuff, but like I was like I don't get it.
See, I don't agree with that because the other stuff has nothing to do with this movie.
Okay, well then it didn't work for me regardless.
Sure. But he's not in Bumblebee, right? So like it kind of isn't in a flashback scene, but
Okay. Yeah, no, I felt truly like I was missing things by not having seen the other movies.
that's her.
And yeah, and like kind of like in a not fun way because it seemed to matter to the characters. Like we're in spoilers, so like Bumblebee comes in and then dies
Immediately.
and I was like, oh, isn't that the one that people like? I feel like
Yes.
they would feel upset about that, but I was just kind of like, damn,
Well, and
that sucks.
the trailers spoil Bumblebee's big moment when he comes back, like
Yeah.
the drop shot, and I was like, why did you show that?
Yeah. So
Like,
if you've seen the trailer, it's already been spoiled for
at
you.
least let me believe that this isn't connected to those Transformers movies and he might be dead, but literally the first trailer spoils Bumblebee's return.
Yeah.
And it's just that is unfortunate. I agree with that. I didn't think the Bumblebee death worked very well either.
Yeah.
It felt like it was shocking, but because Noah didn't know who Bumblebee was, or Elena, but mostly Noah is the one talking to Mirage about it. Noah's even like, I am sorry about that person.
Yeah.
And so it didn't mean anything. Like if Haley Steinfeld had been there, then maybe it could have had more weight.
Yeah. It just didn't like really like mean anything. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
darn. Like.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
they just like transport his body around the world with him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do also love I love when movies do the thing where they drop down into a hole in the middle of a city and then they're like running out of the ruins underneath the city and they're running into the jungle and I'm like, oh my god, they just ran
like miles.
they just ran
Miles.
a fucking marathon.
That's a city. Yeah, no, I know.
They're in the middle of a giant city with this massive parade.
Yeah.
And then 4 minutes later, they are deep into the jungle in the middle of fucking nowhere.
They're gone. Yeah. Maybe it was at the edge of the city.
No, they show it on a map.
No, I know.
The weird thing is they show the map zoom, and I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
they're cardio, and they're chased by that freaking the little Terracon for that entire time, and it doesn't get the. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a mess, but it's fun. It's fun, and the kid's great.
The kid is great. The highlight of the movie for sure.
Yeah.
Give that kid an award.
One thing they don't explain ever is why the Maximals are human animal or Earth animals. Human animals. Why they're Earth animals. Don't get into it. They do in the show Beast Wars, which is great, but they are just animals. But then there's a line where he's like, "I'm named after you, Optimus Prime," but Prime doesn't know who he is. It's that part of the movie was very confusing to me. They did no work to set up the Maximals, and then we're like, "We're your descendants that you've never heard of."
Yep. Very weird.
Didn't get it.
Very, very
Don't know why they
strange.
did that.
Also, they all have different powers, which, I'm assuming...
That's kind of just that comes from the toys. Transformers were toys first.
Yeah.
That were turned into a show.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
So
I just, figured if, Noah can literally, fix Mirage at the end, maybe he could give him a fucking jetpack or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't understand how Noah fixed him either.
No idea.
Because they already show how to revive an Autobot in this movie.
Yeah.
And then Noah just fixes Mirage and he comes back to life. Sure.
Yeah.
But with worse parts.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't worry about it, I guess. Yeah. It was fine. You know what? I might give it a 4 out of 10. But,
it was fun enough.
It's fine.
That I don't want to think about it because if I spend any time thinking about this movie, I'm just gonna be like, what did we watch?
Yeah, don't think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, Transformers, Rise of the Beasts. Don't think about it. Why is it called Rise of the Beasts when they're almost all dead by the end of the movie? I don't know.
Well,
they're not really rising.
No, there's no.
There's only 4 left.
Yeah, they've been in decline.
Wait, no, there's only 3 left. There's really just Optimus Primal, Rhinox, who has 2 lines in the movie.
Yeah, and then a cheetah.
And then Cheetar, who has 1 line in the movie.
Maybe 1, yeah.
No, he has the 1 line where he's like,
oh, sorry, I didn't mean to scare you.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to scare you.
Yeah. I guess he gets like 2, maybe 3 lines.
But it's the rise of them. This movie brought back all of the worst things about the previous Transformers movies in a way, because like those movies also just had like Transformers, vague title that ultimately is like weird because it doesn't actually mean anything to the movie.
Yeah.
I guess Dark of the Moon, they did technically go to the Dark of the Moon.
Transformers, don't think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish this movie was as heartwarming as Bumblebee was.
Fair.
Because I think that would have helped the franchise more than this movie will. I think this movie is going to remind people of the things they didn't like about the Michael Bay movies, even though I do think it is better than all of them.
Yeah.
Partially because it's just inherently less sexist and racist than his movies tended to be. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyways, that was fun.
I just remember the Autobots from, I think it was the second one, Revenge of the Fallen, that are just like so racist. It's bad.
Oh, well, we can talk about that.
Check that out
if you want.
another time. No, that joke wasn't racist. That joke
weird.
just didn't make any sense.
Yeah, it was just
These
weird.
Transformers are actually racist.
Oh.
Yeah, it's wild.
And you want to watch that on video?
I want to see you experience them. Because it's your face. I want to see your face when you go, this was in 1965, right? And I go, no, this came out in 2008.
Are
and
you
go,
using like the N-word or something?
No, it's more that they're caricatures of, like, there's 2.
Oh, no.
I'll show them to you. There's 2 Autobots that kind of are like caricatures of, like, minstrel shows.
No.
Yeah. And, like, one has, like, 1 big gold tooth. And the way they talk, you're like, this isn't okay. And I'm pretty sure one of them is voiced by a white guy, which makes it, like, weirder.
Okay.
Can I find it really quick?
I love that.
It's honestly one of those things where you just you're looking at it going, but like, how did this happen?
Yeah, like who approved of this? I don't know if there's any like pictures on here.
What were their names?
No idea. You're asking the wrong person.
It was like it's not good.
Okay, maybe if you just Google racist Transformers, it will come up.
I wonder if it would come up. Racist Transformers.
Yeah, there it is.
This is good content. I think this is what people are here
Fantastic.
for.
Mudflap and Skids?
Yes, Mudflap and Skids. That's the pair of jive talking robots. Yeah. Where, like, can I just get, oh yeah, this is them.
Ah, okay.
They are something. This is their, like, faces. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, their whole thing is so wild.
Well, on that note, like and subscribe to the channel.
Where we will do a Transformers Revenge of the Fallen
smash that like button if you hate
at some point.
racism. Like, wow, yeah.
Oh, no, I just want to see your face when you go, they're in the whole movie, and I go, yep.
Great.
They let Michael Bay direct another one after that. That they did. My favorite part is when they chase the Transformers testicles up the pyramid. If you want to follow us around the internet, you can. I'm at Nerdy Nightly.
I'm at Claroos.
That's not even a joke. That's just what happens in the movie.
How they procreate? They need the balls so that
No! That's what's wild about it. It just has testicles. We have to watch Revenge of the Fallen. You have to understand my pain.
I don't know.
What was the last series I made you watch to understand my pain? There was one.
Yeah, The Fast and the Furious.
No, but I love those movies. I would watch a Fast and Furious movie every day before I would watch another Michael Bay Transformers movie. I would rather watch Fast 10 than any Michael Bay Transformers movie.
Well, okay. Glowing reviews really makes me want to watch Transformers.
Do something nerdy tonight, y'all.
Bye, guys.
Autobots, roll out.